All right, so good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming through today to today's event. And thank you to Councilman Marquise Dawson for allowing us to use this beautiful community space. Thank you. So today we're here to share about local hire opportunities with the Vermont Manchester mixed use development. So I'll be introducing you to the team, the development team, and the folks that are going to be overseeing the local hire process today. And we're really excited to share those opportunities with you. Before we get into that, I wanted to give a quick overview of the project for those of you that may not be familiar. So the Vermont Manchester project, or Evermont project as it is now named, right across the street is a mixed-use affordable housing and commercial development, which will be located in the empty lot on the northeast corner of Vermont and Manchester. Like I said, right across the street, a stone's throw away. The Evermont development will consist of 180 units of affordable housing for seniors, families, and transitional age youth, and a commercial floor with a major grocery retailer and restaurants and cafes. The development will also include a transit plaza, the Seed School of Los Angeles County boarding school, and a Metro Los Angeles training center. So lots of amazing things all in one place. And today we're here to talk about how you all can get connected to local hire opportunities on that development. So in today's session, we're going to be sharing a lot of information. So at the end of each section, if there's questions from folks in the audience, feel free to raise your hand, ask questions on each section. All of the presenters here are also going to be here after the presentation. So there's also opportunity for follow-up questions. And then folks that are joining us via Zoom, this is a hybrid in-person virtual event. So that there's about 30 people joining us via Zoom. So hello, I can't see you, but I know you're there. Thank you for joining us virtually. And if you have any questions on the Zoom, feel free to type those in the chat and someone from our development team will help answer those questions. And I'm hearing that wonderful echo in the space. So without any further delay, I'm gonna introduce the development team.
Recording in progress.
So, where did Alexis go? Okay, so right here is Alexis from Bridge Housing. They're overseeing the affordable housing element of the project, and CRCD is a co-partner with them. This is Claudia Cardenas with Prime Store. They're overseeing the commercial aspect. And then on our Zoom is Nelura from XED, who's overseeing the school portion.
Hello.
So at this time, we're going to share a couple of quick updates around the project from the development team, and then we'll get right into the local hire content. All right, Claudia. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Okay, thank you. All right, so if we could actually have Nelura give her updates via the Zoom.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kenta, and good evening, everyone. Glad to be in the space with you, kind of, sorta. I am Nelora Bell, and I work with XED, and we are a partner with the Seed Foundation out of DC to develop Seed LA. And for those of you that are not as familiar with the school, it will be a high school with a focus on technology, STEM, and careers in the transportation industry. It is a boarding school for 400 students. We'll start with the 125 ninth graders in the 2022-23 school year. And as you might imagine, no, the building won't be finished yet, but we're going to have locate on a temporary site. And we are in the process of taking applications for the inaugural school of Seed LA. And so we'd be happy to talk to you about that further. And as you can see, if you're at the meeting in person, we're well underway with the construction. We got a slow start and we kind of had to do things a little differently. We've done part of the vertical development, but because of finding some underground utilities on the western portion of the site, you'll see there's not a lot of padding and what have you on that particular site. But we plan to have all of that cleared up by the middle of this month in a couple of more weeks, so that then we will really be picking up our speed in building the school more earnestly. And so we look forward to doing that, but we're happy with the progress we've been able to make today, even working around the site issues that we've had. And thank you very much.
Is it on mute? So, hi, my name's Lisa. Is it working on Zoom too? Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Alexis Lang. I'm Senior Project Manager with Bridge Housing. We're an affordable housing developer developing projects for the last 30 years. I'm really excited about the beginning of this project to start construction. We'll be responsible for the development of the 180 units of affordable housing. And our general update is that, we've figured out all of the financing for the project today. We received tax credits and bonds, which is the last portion of our financing piece. I'm very excited. It's been a long time coming for the community and for others. Like 11 o'clock today, this morning, everything was completely finalized. We're in the process of working through the financing with different lenders, and I'll let Claudia Leandro will talk more about the construction project as we move forward. But our plan is to start construction on that site for the mixed use portion in early 2022.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claudia Cardenas. I'm with Prime Store, and we are the developer that is working on the commercial portion of the mixed-use development. What our work encompasses is 50,000 square feet of retail, a metro training facility of 15,000 square feet, the transit plaza, and a parking structure. So that's the envelope that we're responsible for. We do have a joint venture with Bridge Housing, who is developing the housing, and we're partners with CDLA. So we're going to be working on doing a very integrative plaza design. So that's it as it relates to the components of what the project entails. As far as the construction timeline, as Alexis mentioned, we are planning to get started in the first half of 2022. So we're currently deciding, or we're going to be engaging our GC by the end of the year. And then after that is when we're going to be able to determine what the construction date will be. The construction timeline is 24 months. So once we get started, it'll be a 24-month construction period. So the project should be completed sometime in 2024. And that's it as it relates to the timeline. We're going to get into a little more detail as far as like what the percentages that are required that are applicable to this project. But what we want to tell you is more, there are certain requirements, minimum requirements as it relates to the local hire. But our focus is not on what the requirements are. We are here because we want to let you know that we are committed to providing opportunities for jobs for the local community. So we're here to let you know what those are, how you can get the training that will qualify you to obtain those jobs, and how we're here to offer services to support you along the way. So anytime you have any questions, whether it's here during this meeting, outside of this meeting, we are available. So come talk to us. We're here for you. And we want to make you succeed, because if you succeed, we all succeed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Claudia. Sorry, I just lost my train of, oh, this is what I was gonna say. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the construction lingo, as I was not previously, a GC is the general contractor. So that's the top dog contractor that's gonna be bringing in all the jobs, doing all the work. So that's good that we're gonna be engaging the general contractor by the end of the year, because that means work's gonna start in 2022. And when work starts, that's opportunity, that's jobs, right? We're going in an additional step to actually provide training as well as part of this process for folks that are interested and want to get connected to apprenticeship pathways. So as Claudia said, the entire development team and all the partners here are committed to connecting all of you and other community members to this process in any way that we can. So it's my pleasure at this time to introduce LA Housing Compliance. LA Housing Compliance is the jobs coordinator for the project, and they will be going over, giving an overview of the local hire process.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Such a quiet group. I'm excited. I know it's late. I've been up since 6. So I have lots of energy. My name is Christiana Faulkner, and I am the Power to Workers Director for the Los Angeles Housing Compliance. Alongside me, I have our president, Margaret Toddy, here tonight. And we are the jobs coordinator for the project. So we are going to be working alongside CRCD for all outreach and engagement. And so tonight I'm going to be with you for about an hour and a half. I'm just joking, it's 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes to talk about local hire goals. We're going to define what a tier 1 candidate is, what targeted workers are and how they tie into this project, our recruitment process, and then our community support and engagement. So we're going to talk about our entire process. And if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask those questions as we go along. Oh, next slide. And so this is our leadership team with the Los Angeles Housing Compliance. So myself, the Power to Workers Director, and the Power to Workers component of Los Angeles Housing Compliance is our nonprofit component. And so we are working on all things local hire. And what that means is that we are working for jobs in the neighborhood to be, so this affordable housing project and this project to be built by folks that live around the corner, right? We're gonna get into zip codes, we're gonna get into tier 1 and tier 2 candidates. For outreach and engagement, not here tonight, we have Lauzoli de la Concha, who is our outreach and engagement strategist. And then again, Margaret Toddy, who is the president of Los Angeles Housing Compliance. And we are the jobs coordinator for the Evermont project. All right, so here are some percentages that you may have questions about, but this is really the cool thing about local hire is that these percentages are in place. So what that says is that at least 10% of total hours on the job should be performed by targeted workers. And we're going to get into the definition of targeted workers in just a second, who are also local residents. So that means that we're not bringing in folks from 30 miles from different counties to work on this project, because we have skilled and experienced laborers here in the community, and that's what we want to bring onto the project. It also says that 30% of total work hours should be performed by local residents residing within tier 1. Again, we're going to talk about those zip codes. And then once we've exhausted all of our tier 1 candidates, then we will dip into tier 2 candidates, which kind of broadens the zip code range. And then 50% of the apprenticeship hours must be worked by local residents and targeted workers. And so the next slide is going to give you a definition of targeted workers. So targeted workers is really a broad term that just says anyone who's faced a barrier in life, right? So if you don't have a high school diploma or a GED, have any involvement with the criminal justice system, a former foster youth, there are 14 different criteria. And so we want to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity to work on this, and that barriers are not in place to prevent you from being able to work out on the job site. And so some of those criteria listed there, but that is our definition of targeted workers, and those are our priority candidates. And so I don't know if you all can see this maybe better on Zoom. That red dot in the middle of that map is where the project is located. And then there's a dotted green circle around that. That just identifies our tier 1 candidates. So that means that they live within a 5-mile radius of the project. So you are looking at folks from like Windsor Hills, the Vernon area, Watts, Bell Gardens, Compton, Lenox, Southgate, and Inglewood, and all of the areas represented there. And so when you think about tier 1, that's a 5-mile radius. Once we have received candidates in that area, we're going to, once we've exhausted that list, then we will look into tier 2 candidates, which broadens the zip code range. And so, but as you can see, our priority comes from tier 1 candidates, and those are the candidates that we're going to look at first. And so this is probably the process that you're looking for. Like, how can I get involved in this process? What do I need to do, right? All right, so how can you get involved? Spreading the word. Do you know anyone in your neighborhood? Do you have siblings? Do you have family members? Anyone who is interested in a career in construction? Anyone with experience in construction? Definitely sharing the flyer, sharing information. We're gonna have tables here. Well, we do have tables here. So please stop by after the presentation is over. You can ask those questions then. Sign up. We'd like to receive your information so that we can follow up with you accordingly. And then, yes, so sign up today would be a great opportunity. We are going to have those trainings start soon, and they will, I don't want to release the date, but it's coming up next month. So we want to get you registered for those trainings. And if you are already a registered apprentice or journey person, then please come and see us so that we can talk through that process as well. Next slide. All right, so you can take your phones out or screenshot Zoomers. Our information is there. If you have any questions about the local hire process, it is our first name at lahousingcompliance.org. Our office phone number 323-920-6674. Again, we're gonna be here at the table afterwards. So if you have any questions, please feel free to come by. Are there any questions about anything I covered? Oh, yeah. Yes.
So if somebody's taking this work, but because they still
Yes. Are you guys going to cover that? I'm guessing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Oh, no, they've asked on Zoom if you could please repeat the phone number.
Oh, yes. 323-920-6674. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Christiana. Are there any other questions from our Zoom folks that we can address at this time?
I don't think there are any other questions specifically for that speaker.
Okay, great. Just to answer the gentleman's question from earlier, we're eligibility for the work source is more of a support benefit, but not a requirement. So if someone is ineligible for the work source or registered with another work source, that will not stop them from being able to be part of the training, especially if they're a tier 1 candidate living in that 5-mile radius, for sure. All right, so thank you again, LA Housing Compliance. Christiana and Margaret will also be here in the space after if you want to talk to them. So at this time, I'm going to introduce Ben Garcia. who's going to be talking about giving an overview of the local apprenticeships.
Can everybody hear me? Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. There we go. Hey, my name is Ben Garcia, and I work with the Los Angeles Orange County Building and Construction Trades Council. We represent 14 different building trades, 48 local unions, and over 150,000 union construction workers throughout LA and Orange County. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what apprenticeship is. I know that we've been kind of skirting around what apprenticeship is and all these great opportunities that this project is going to afford. But I want to make sure you have a clear understanding of really the benefits of going down an apprenticeship pathway in our building and construction trades, what it really means. So what is registered union apprenticeship? Pretty simply here, registered apprenticeship is a paying job. So from day one, you're going to be able to get paid. It's education and training. Okay? You're going to get formalized training plus on-the-job training. And then it's a credential. Once you complete your apprenticeship, you're going to get an industry recognized credential, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that is and what that's called. But let's talk about paying job first. Oops. Okay. So paying jobs. When we talk about apprenticeship, when we talk about a paying job, you know, it's earn as you learn. Okay. From day one, when you get into one of our building trades, you're going to be able to get to work. You're going to get dispatched out to a project, even though you don't have any skills. You're going to learn some skills from colleagues that are on the project, usually your journeymen, usually higher level apprentices that are also learning their trade as well, but they're going to be teaching you on the job every day. After so many hours that you're working out in the field, you're going to be required to go to get formal training at your local apprenticeship school, okay? And so we're talking about this last bullet point here. When you get into apprenticeship, you're going to get out there in the field. You're going to work so many hours in the field. You're going to get so many hours of formalized training. And then the great thing about apprenticeship is that you're going to get an automatic promotion and an automatic pay raise to the next level. Those are called periods or stages. Okay. So, I mean, what other industry out there can you get a guarantee on a promotion and a raise after so many hours of work in the field, so many hours of training? Very little industries out there offer that. Right now, on average, starting pay for most of our apprenticeships is $19 an hour. Some of our apprenticeships pay a lot lower than that. Some of our apprenticeships start at about $15.80 an hour, but some of our apprenticeships start as high as $29 an hour. Remember, we've got 15 different building trades that are out there, and none of them require you skill coming through the door. None of them require you to have skill coming through the door. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. We're talking about education and training. So apprenticeship training in the trade of your choice, the best training in the world at no cost to you. So I'm not going to talk down about the college pathway. What I'm going to say is this: you go to college, you go 2 years, you go 4 years, 6 years of school maybe for some people. At the end of that period, you have a great education, but you have no experience in the field that you've chosen. More importantly, when you complete that degree, you're going to start at the bottom because you don't have experience. In the building trades, in apprenticeship, that's not what we do. We train you and we develop you as you go along. By the time you complete your apprenticeship, guess what? You're an expert in your field. Now we're talking about different wages. We have some of our trades that top out at as high as $69 an hour. On the low end, we're looking at probably about $32 an hour. Okay? So you're going to go through anywhere from 2.5 years to 5 years of training. And by the time you're done with that, you're going to be getting the top level of pay in your trade of choice. Each building trade has different requirements for how you attend apprenticeship training. Not every one of them is the same. Every one of our trades has different requirements for getting in, but more importantly, they have different ways that you attend your formalized training. Again, accrue no debt. And here in LA, Orange County, we have 26 different apprenticeship training centers that will support you in the trade of your choice. And then lastly, our credential. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having a tough time breathing through this mask here and talking. But with our credential, we're talking about your journeyman card. After 2.5 years, or 5 years, depending on the trade of your choice, carpenters, I think, are 4 years. Depending on your trade of your choice, when you graduate from your apprenticeship school, you get a journeyman card. Great thing about that card is it's portable. You have to pick up and move across the country. You got to go to New York. So you take that journeyman card down to the local union. That tells them right there that you've already been trained, that you're an expert in your field, and you'll get right to work. Okay? Most of our trades are national. Some of our trades are international. So it just depends on the trade that you choose. But nobody can take that journeyman card away from you. You earned that right. That's your degree. So why register a union apprenticeship? So when we talk apprenticeship, again, we're talking about the union construction trades. We want to make sure that you understand that there are benefits to that. The first one is collective bargaining. Your trades represent you. Okay, they strive and they work hard to get you the best pay in the industry, to get you outstanding health care, but more importantly, retirement or a pension. That's the one thing that's hard to come across these days. There's going to be a point where you've worked yourself pretty hard, and it's time for you to rest and relax and enjoy everything that you've worked hard for. Okay? You want to make sure that you have something in the bank. You want to make sure that you can still be paid when you can no longer work. Safest work environment in the industry. Construction's a dangerous job. Every time you get out in the field, there's an opportunity for you to get hurt. In union construction, we make sure that you're taken care of so that you go home to your families every night. Worker representation. Being a part of a local union, that union is going to represent you. They're going to fight for you. Better working conditions, better pay, and all the other things that are listed above. And then again, it's the most advanced training and education that you can get in the trade that you've chosen.
Wow.
So here's a list of all the building trades that you have the ability to get into. Most of these trades are going to be utilized on this project. And as you can see, there's a ton of different things that are listed. Anything from air conditioning to drywall finishing, electricians, carpenters. As soon as I'm done speaking right now, you're going to hear from Wesley Crump, who's a member of the Carpenters Union. You're also going to hear from Mike Rubio from the Laborers Union. Those are two of all of these trades that are listed above that you can have the opportunity to get into. And all of them pay well, all of them take care of you, and all of them provide good career pathways for you and your family. That's it. Woo!
That's good. All right, thank you, Ben. Can we get another round of applause for Ben Garcia from the Apprenticeship Readiness Fund? All right, so at this time, we're actually going to hear from Mike Rubio from the Local 300 Laborers Union. So give us 1 second. Take it away, Mike.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to do this presentation on this webinar. I appreciate it. My main function as a senior coordinator for Laborers Local 300 is to recruit men and women that want this as a career. At Laborers, we do a little bit of everything: concrete, asphalt, pipeline, demolition, grading. We're the first on the job, last one to leave the project. We work with other trades to get the job done. And I just want to play a video short with my IT partner, and go ahead and play the video, please.
Welcome to training school. What does it mean to be a laborer? Here at the Laborers Training School, we believe it means more than a job. We believe it means opportunity for you that starts with an apprenticeship that can lead you to becoming a journey-level master craftsman with pathways into careers in all aspects of the construction industry. We believe it means hard work, dedication, and a commitment to lifelong learning and advancement. We believe it means a living family wage, retirement, and health benefits for you and your family. With our free apprenticeship program and paid on-the-job training, We believe you should be able to earn while you learn on your path to a career. We believe being a laborer means being more than your average worker. From the beginning to the end of a construction project, the laborers are there, on time, prepared, and ready to work. We train you to be safe, to work together, and to get the job done. Teamwork is our foundation. It takes our combined efforts to build our future. With ongoing training starting from your boot camp through retraining after you graduate, you will stay up to date with your knowledge and certifications. Our diverse union fights for equality and to end pay discrimination. So no matter who you are, if you can do hard physical work, you can become a laborer. Our wages are higher, our benefits are better, and our training is tougher, so you have what you need to succeed. Being a laborer is more than a job. Being a laborer means being more. What can being a laborer mean to you? Thank you for choosing the Laborers Training School in La Una. Feel the power.
All right, there you go. That's an awesome video, from my marketing department there. And, the labor to me provides a career opportunity. By going to school, going to work, you become skilled. That's the purpose of apprenticeship. And little by little, you get your bumped in wage, 2022 an hour for a first period apprentice, plus your fringe benefit package. And I have one more video that's really important. It's a testimonial for one of our apprentice that just graduated. And let's go ahead and play that video as well.
Hi, I'm Genesis Norv. I'm a fourth period apprentice from Local 300 Laborers. I made the decision to join the union in 2019. I was 20 years old, working a minimum wage job, and I've always known I've been a really hard worker, and I knew that I could be putting my energy towards something with a bigger picture in mind. So I heard about the laborers union through my mom. I always saw her coming home dirty, didn't really think much of it, but I know we always lived a really good life. Never gone without, and I've been very, very thankful. And once I turned 20, I decided to make the best decision of my life, really, and do the boot camp, and I made it. My favorite part about being an apprentice is being able to get out there and try new things, learning how to use the air tools, hand tools, power tools. I love carrying my tools. My favorite tool is actually my spud wrench because I can pull it out and really use it on anything. I'm really good at chipping, stripping. I enjoy seeing work progress, and I'm not afraid to get dirty. What inspires me to be a laborer as a young female is that I can set an example for other females, hopefully younger than me or my age, that you don't have to depend on a man to be able to afford a good lifestyle and support yourself. After I journey out, I plan on saving my money and hopefully putting a down payment on my first home at 22 years old. Through my journey of being an apprentice, I've changed a lot as a person and grown as a woman. Before I joined the union, I wasn't as confident as I am now. I feel like I have a very bright future ahead of me, and I'm really excited.
All right, thank you. There's a video on Genesis Norv, awesome, inspirational, and this could be all up, to you. Just set your mind to it. Whatever you have in your life, your goals to buy a house, to buy a vehicle, to make livable wages. You can do it by getting involved with this project, the Vermont Manchester project, and they're going to have a lot of local hire requirements, but you have to be disciplined. Ready to work, drug free, get up early in the morning. As long as I have coffee in the morning, I'm good. but at the same time, is you got to be provide for your family, and that's what it comes down to. And anytime, you're welcome to get on our website, laborstrainingschool.com, and they can tell you that information in more detail. That's how, apply online, or you can call in at 626-610-1700, and they can mail the application. Thank you very much, and you guys have a good evening. Anybody have any questions?
Can you put the telephone number in the chat and so we could share it with the folks here?
Sure.
Or could you repeat it again?
Yeah, sure. It's area code 626-610-1700. And then as far as our website, laborstrainingschool.com, and I'll go ahead and have that as well. And just go out there and do it. The apprenticeship readiness program is to prepare you for careers in construction, and this is all up to every individual. So you can't tell by looking at a person. It's the mentality, the drive. They have to have heart, and that's what it comes down to. You can't look at a person. I've had people in the past, they're a little bit older, like they're in their 50s, 60s, and they're doing it. And you ask them, why are you doing it? Because I had kids in college. It's going to provide for my family. So it's really up to the individual. So the minimum requirements, minimum 18 years of age, physically able to do the work, and pass a drug test. All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Mike, for joining us virtually. Look at what technology can do to bring us together.
Exactly.
Mind repeating the website again? We got a request from the audience here.
It's laborerstrainingschool.com. Let me see if I can have it on there. There you go. All righty.
All right. Well, thank you again, Mike. And
you're welcome.
Let's give Mike a round of applause. So we're going to transition back into the space, and it's my pleasure to introduce Wesley Crunk from the Southwest Carpenters Union.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Wesley Crunk from the Southwest Carpenters Training Fund out of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. You've heard a lot about apprenticeships today. I'm a 23-year member of the Carpenters. I grew up right here in South Central Los Angeles. I actually found the Carpenters going through a pre-apprenticeship program back in 1999. I had been released from prison for my second time and never knew what a carpenter or any of these things were, right? Coming from my background. And the pre-apprenticeship helped me to know what the different pathways were. And my instructor said that I would make a great carpenter. So what I want you guys to do is to do some research on your own and find out what these different apprenticeships offer, because each apprenticeship offers a different characteristic, just like everybody in the community has a different characteristic. And do the research and find something that will match you perfectly so that you can succeed. Carpentry worked great for me, but I want everybody to do their own research. We have a video that I brought. It's going to be about the Carpenters Union. It's going to be from different apprentices that have been in, and some that got in on local hire projects like the one that's going to happen here. And also we got some instructors. We got the director of our training facility. So they're going to give you some of their accounts, and then I'll talk to you guys a little bit after that. Could you cue the video, my man?
Sure. 1 second.
We get it set up so the Zoom viewers can hear it. One moment.
Okay, that's perfect.
Apprenticeship program, it's a life changer for a lot of people.
In the apprenticeship program has been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
In the apprenticeship program, you earn as you learn.
Every day I wake up and I just think I have a career. It's not a job, it's my career.
The Southwest Carpenters Apprenticeship Program has been putting people on the path to successful careers for more than 20 years.
So after high school, I was working at a body shop and I was getting, like 25-cent raises, if anything.
I was going from temp agency to temp agency. After the Marine Corps, I did a lot of odd jobs, trying to find my passion.
It's just crazy how I landed here because I was just a visual merchandiser, which is like fashion area.
Like when I was growing up, I was taught it's either military, college, or a trade. They made it sound bad. The trade's a great thing.
I wanted to change my life and I wanted to be successful. And I had no clue construction was going to be my success. But once I got into it, I say, this is it right here. This will take me where I need to be.
No matter where you come from or where you are in your life, a career as a union carpenter could be right for you. If you're ready to work hard side by side with a group of men and women who share your talents, work ethic, and a commitment to excellence. It all starts right here in the Southwest Carpenters Apprenticeship Program.
The apprenticeship has been around for years, and it's a vital part to what we do in the union.
Our apprentices get the highest level training they could possibly get, and it is free.
Instructors here are top notch, and our focus is to teach the apprentices the best that we can.
I showed you how to do it. I taught you what was the correct way to do it. I gave you the tools to do it. Now do it.
Technology changes on a dime, and we have to keep up with that. So we have the state-of-the-art training facilities, and anything we can get our hands on, we're getting and we're teaching.
It takes a certain kind of man or woman to be able to do it.
You got to have a good attitude because it's a hard work out there,
You have to be a thinker. It's not just a body type thing. So you got to be intelligent and you got to be able to deal with people.
As an apprentice, you'll attend 160 hours of training a year, over 4 years, at any of these training centers throughout the Southwest region. We provide training in 7 key crafts: carpenter, millwright, pile driver, acoustical, drywall, scaffolding, and plaster.
It is hard work, but if you're hungry enough to make the money, the union's a good way to go. It's a good career when you're able to buy what you want to buy,
Some people have untapped potential. They'll come out here and not know that they were good with their hands or not know that they could be good at this. There's different trades to where you don't have to do one specific thing. You could try something else.
At the end of your apprenticeship, you will be promoted to journeyman classification with a trade certificate. You'll be working at the top of your industry as part of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, the largest building trade union in North America.
It's a brotherhood and a sisterhood that is a collection of all of us. We're not just one person in this game. It's strength in numbers.
For those who don't have a voice, the union speaks up for us. They're out there fighting to make sure that we get a decent wage so that we can provide for our families, so we can give them better education.
Coming into the carpenter's apprenticeship, it is hard work. It's something that you have to want. But at the end of the day, it's a fruitful career that you can make good money, health and welfare benefits, and a pension to retire with dignity.
To drive down the street and point out to your family, I built that. I worked on that. It's pride. It really is.
We're here to build, and it's just such a nice feeling to step back and be like, oh, I did that. And it's just right there in front of your eyes.
I was there for the whole, when it was a whole, and I was there till the end. It's a good feeling.
Training is 100% vital to what we do in the union. Our skills and productivity, that's what makes us survive.
Not just my job, it's my career.
We're professional carpenters, so we have to be the best of the best. So that's our little video about the Carpenters Union. Now here's what's important. What I said about the different trades and the different crafts, in the Carpenters Union itself, we have several different types of carpenters. Some do concrete formwork, like I do, which would be like some of the first people that come on that job site over there. They'll build this big concrete structure. Then other carpenters will come in and do carpenter work behind them. Interior systems, drywall, metal studs, cabinets have to be put in. Almost everything in any building, I'm gonna say 75, 80% of it is carpenter work, but you gotta do the research, right? Now, there's no way I would have made it in this trade coming from where I came from and just getting dropped on the job site. So getting some pre-apprenticeship training is very, very vital and is key. I like to actually teach the culture of it, because that's what's going to be probably one of the make or breaking points. It's not going to be how much you know, because you're going to learn any of them by the repetitions you get. The trick is being able to stay on the job to be able to get those repetitions. And then a lot of other things come into play. I have a pre-apprenticeship program that's done at the training center, exactly one of the ones that was on the video, and it's called Brothers Keepers. It's a 4-week apprenticeship, hands-on, with apprentices that are part of the apprenticeship program. They're coming from job sites. They're going to be at the training center with you, and it's going to be hands-on training in all of the different crafts. You're going to build projects like you would build in the field. So when you go out there, you're not just brand new. We also have a female program that is the twin program to mine, called the Boots program. It's strictly for women, train you in the same crafts and the same skill sets that I will to get you ready for the job site. Now the instructor is a woman. I can teach you everything about being a carpenter. I cannot teach you how to be a woman carpenter. Some challenges there that I've never seen that she has, and she can get you completely ready for that. And ultimately, we're trying to get you ready for the 4-year apprenticeship, where it's earned while you learn. And like every other body said in here, it is a career. And my personal, what I want to get out of this is, I don't want the CDLA to just be a job that you fill the number as a PLA statistic. I want it to become a career. So when you leave there, you are employable to keep going and keep getting this career going. And it's gonna come from here, but a lot of these trainings will also help you. So I know I took a lot of time, but I appreciate this. I am very excited. I have a table over there, and please come see me. I'll give you some more information.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What if they start in one trade and realize that's not for them?
Perfect. We can. Now, are we talking about trade? See, that's what I'm saying. We some of us in here, we know the lingo, and we can just know when you're brand new to it. So construction as a whole is one thing. Now there's different trades. Like you heard Mr. Rubio, his trade, he's a laborer. My trade, I'm a carpenter. So are you asking trade, or are you asking craft of carpentry?
Well, like you said, there's a bunch of different. First you come in with the cement, then you come in with the walls.
Yes.
The tile. So what if I decided that I don't want to do that anymore? This is not for me. I want to do cement.
Then you just go into your local and you switch your books and you start doing that. Absolutely. And usually that's a very good question for the Zoom world. The young lady asked if you were doing one craft and you wanted to switch to another one, how would that work? Well, you usually they want you to go 1,000 hours, and it'll take about that for you to see, if you like this or not. Hopefully, if you come and do this, you'll know that before. But all it is just the switching of a books and that contractor hiring you. At the end of the day, to be a carpenter, all you have to do is get hired by one of our signatory contractors and you're in. It's pretty easy to do. However, being able to sustain a career, that's where the challenge comes in. And that's where we want to give you guys those type of skill sets and get you guys ready for that. Is there any questions in Zoom that I can't see?
Proud of you from where you come from.
I'm proud of all of us. Can we give it up for all of us? I'm proud of you guys just coming here and trying to tackle this, so I'm real proud. So I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot. I have my 50.
All right. Thank you, Wesley. Is it too late for me to change my career path? All of this apprenticeship talk, man. I know I look young, but I'm not that young. But is it too late? All right. So thank you, Ben, Wesley, and Mike for giving us that overview of apprenticeships, the local unions, with so many choices to choose from, it's a good question that that you brought up here. How do you know what to do? So that's a perfect segue into our next section. Before we do that, I'm gonna address some questions that I think we have on the Zoom side.
Right, thank you, Kenta. There are a few questions in the Q&A, so we'll let you guys decide who wants to answer them. But number one is, how long is the training process?
Okay, so I think they're referring to the apprenticeship readiness training, which we're gonna get into right now. And then if it's referring to the actual apprenticeship training, maybe Ben, you can talk about some of those lengths as well.
Mine is 4 weeks.
So Wesley said his pre-apprenticeship training is 4 weeks for folks, but we're gonna get into that more deeply.
If we're talking about building trades and their apprenticeship training could be 2.5 years. 2.5 years.
Okay, all right. So for the actual apprenticeship training, it's between 2.5 to 5 years, depending on the trade. And then we're going to talk about the pre-apprenticeship or apprenticeship readiness training in the next segment.
If we're a transitional age youth, is it possible to get first choice for housing?
So just to clarify, is it possible to get first choice for the housing for the project?
Yes.
So there, do you want to answer that?
The details on the housing process, on the housing application process, but we are going to have a follow-up community workshop where we're going to go over the entire process of, what the qualifications are, what the process is with the requirements, who are the preferred groups. So just stay tuned, sign up for our newsletter so that you can get notification of when we're going to have that event.
Thank you. I think we're getting ready to talk about this, but is there non-union apprenticeship training and programs connected to local hire generally and specifically on this project?
Can you say, yeah, so specifically for
this project and
this
then
is a
generally
union project, so it would all be apprenticeship pathways.
Are there non-union apprenticeship? Did you just say union?
I'm gonna let Ben address that in the next segment, but
Okay.
the answer is
And
no.
then maybe this next question will be answered by Ben as well, but who dispatches the union workers to the project? What's the relationship between the union dispatcher and the job coordinator? How are non-union apprentices get dispatched to the project? What's the relationship of non-union apprentices to the job coordinator? And how does it work? Like, is there a step-by-step flow chart?
So the contract issue, the job coordinator and the local union.
Do you want to come
Yeah.
up because you're going to be in the next section anyway?
Hi there. So the question was the relationship between candidates that graduate out of the program, how they get connected with the jobs coordinator, and how they ultimately get referred to the union apprenticeship opportunities. So we're going to talk a little bit about the apprenticeship readiness training. A candidate will go through that training, and then they will be referred to LA Housing Compliance. We are the jobs coordinator. So we will bring you in as a graduate from that program, put you through a pre-screening process where you're going to come in. As Christiana mentioned, we're going to talk about any information that's relevant to the work. Do you have transportation? What trade are you interested in getting into? Take all of your information in, depending on the trade that you want to get into. Some apprenticeship opportunities, we can send you to apply with the unions. So you can go and take the test, you can go and complete the training. Other unions, you have to get sponsored in by an employer. So depending on the way that it works with the specific union, we're going to walk you through that process. When the positions come up, the employers send what's called a craft request form. So the craft request form comes to us as a jobs coordinator, and it also comes to the unions. So we're going to work in conjunction with the employer, the unions, and the LAOC building trades to identify the priority tier 1 candidate that has completed training and is ready to be dispatched into that position. LA Housing Compliance is a jobs coordinator. We're going to walk you through every step of the process to make sure that you can get into the union, get dispatched to that project, and you have your boots, your tools, your hard hat, everything you need to be successful. So we'll walk you through that entire process from point A to point Z. Yes.
I have a question. If I have experience at carpentry, whatever trade may be, I have experience, but I am not on time. Does that mean that I cannot work on what? So this project is only.
Right, so you have to be either a registered journeyman or a registered apprentice to work on this project site. This is governed by an LA County Community Workforce Agreement, which is governed by the unions and the apprenticeship programs. So even if you are not a part of the union, you can be brought into the union. So there's definitely opportunities for everybody out there. Whether you want training, whether you have prior construction experience, that is our work to figure out how to fit you into the project. Right, you do have to be a registered apprentice or a journeyman to participate on the project. Yes, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Great, thank you, Margaret. Do we have any other questions from the Zoom folks?
There is another question. How do we work our way to becoming a general contractor? Is it through carpentry or to learn something or look to learn everything like concrete work, electrical, plumbing, etc.?
That is a great question. I think maybe we can follow up with that person because that is a pretty in-depth answer and topic. But if you could just make a note of that, we can definitely follow up.
I will. And Azia, I think Azia has a couple more questions, but
just go. So the simple answer from Ben is that they got to get that experience, and a union will give you that experience. So let's go apprenticeship. Let's go union.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the Zoom or from the room that we can address before we go to the next section? And this is the best part. So, you know, a lot of anticipation.
Right.
All right. So let's bring up Ben to talk about our apprenticeship readiness training.
Okay, so you've heard from two of our local building trades. You know, we talked about 15 different building trades that are out there, different opportunities that you can get into. How do you decide which trade is right for you? That's the big question, right? With 15 different opportunities out there, how do you know what you're going to be good at? Somebody asked the question earlier, well, if you start down one, can you change your mind and decide to go down another? Well, sure you can. But depending on when you figure out that this one trade isn't right for you, you might have wasted a year or 2 years going down a pathway, getting training to decide this isn't for you. You like what they're doing over there and you want to go into that. The hope here is through our apprenticeship readiness training that you, sorry. It's not working.
Try it again.
The hope is through our apprenticeship readiness training that we provide with the LNOC Building Trades Council, carpenters provide their boots program, their My Brother's Keepers program, that you get the information that you need to make an informed decision about which trade is right for you. You know, again, here's a list of all the trades that are out there. There's just a lot. And how do you know? How do you know what a steam fitter does? You know, we know growing up about 4 trades, right? We know about the carpenters, we know about the plumbers, we know about the painters, maybe the roofers, maybe electricians, but who knows what a boiler maker does? You know, who knows what a sheet metal worker does? not a whole lot of people out in the community, right? So we have this program that's called, oh, sorry, hold on. I'll put it back. There it is. There it is. So we have a program that is designed specifically for this. As soon as she's done, I'll share a little bit more about it. So we have a program that's called MC3, and this program really is a career exploration program, but it's also a preparation program. It's designed to give you all the keys to be successful going into union apprenticeship, okay? We've got 4 components to the training that we provide. The first one is the curriculum. And so the curriculum we utilize for this training is called the MC3 Multi-Craft Core Curriculum. It's created by the North America's building trades unions with input from all of our national and international unions. It is the only quote unquote pre-apprenticeship program or curriculum that does have input from all of our local building trades, okay? The topics that we cover in this training, the first one, industry awareness. You know, everybody knows about great paying jobs in construction. You know, we know about the benefits of going union. But there's a lot of other information that you need to know. How does the economy affect your ability to work? How does weather affect your ability to work? Let me give you an example. Have you guys heard about the ships that are stuck in the harbor with goods floating out there? Well, there are a lot of construction materials that are sitting on those boats affecting people's ability to work right now. Okay? Some people are having to take a few days, few weeks off because their trade can't continue to work on a certain project. So we want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of that. We don't want you to get discouraged when there are bad times, when work slows down a little bit. Okay? The second topic, trades awareness. We have those 15 trades. We want to make sure that you get all the information about them. The way that we do that is we take you out to the local training centers. We bring in representatives from the trades. They'll tell you what they do, tell you about the work, tell you what it takes to get in and what the requirements are. Okay? Construction health and safety, we talked about it. You heard it from Mike, you heard it from Wesley. Safest training in the world, safest industry in the world when it comes to union construction. We're going to make sure that you get the bare minimum required to get on the work site. Some of our programs take it a step further and get you even more safety training. But at a bare minimum, you're going to get OSHA 10, CPR, and first aid. Tool and material identification. One of the ways that you're going to find out whether or not a trade is good for you, whether it's a good fit for you, is to be able to put the equipment, the tools, the materials in your hand. You know, drywall finishers, people that finish this wall and make it look smooth, they work with joint compound. It's a white, creamy mixture that we call mud out in the field. How are you going to get it all over you when you work? Is that something you're going to want to do? As a carpenter, you're going to get splinters, sawdust. You're going to be working with things that cut. Can you do that? Are you willing to do that? How about a roofer? You're going to be up on the top of a building in the sun, 100-degree weather, all day, every day. Is it going to be right for you? We want to make sure that you get that in this unit. Construction math, talked about really good paying jobs out there, right? Talked about a trade that pays up to $29 coming through the door, but you have to have a high level of math to get into that trade. So we're going to make sure that 40 hours of the training, we're going to give you a refresher on math to get past those exams. Then heritage of the worker, this is really labor history. We want to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what the labor unions have fought for and who is representing you out in the work site. And then the last few subjects, blueprint reading, we're not going to make you experts in that. We just want to give you a little sample, a little taste. Make sure you have a little understanding about how to navigate blueprints. And then diversity in the workplace. Our building trades are more diverse than ever. We have more women getting into the trades. More people of color get into the trades, which is all a good thing. We're doing great in those areas, but we can always do better. Okay, so we're gonna cover those things. And then last, financial literacy. You're gonna be making more money than you've ever made before, most likely. We wanna make sure that you can manage it. You know, we don't want you to go out and buy a brand new truck, it's got a V8 in it, gets you 5 miles to the gallon, when you're gonna be driving maybe 2 hours in some cases to work every day. You'd be surprised on union construction projects, you're gonna see a lot of Camrys, a lot of Civics, a lot of Priuses. Because you know the great thing in union construction, you don't have to carry materials in your car like the non-union side of the industry. You don't have to carry a bunch of stuff. And if you do, guess what? In union construction, your company is going to give you a vehicle to do that. Okay? For the most part. So that's a little bit about what we cover in MC3. Last one is green construction. You guys know about solar panels, energy efficiency, but how about urban planning, transit villages, things of that nature? We're going to cover a little bit of that in that final topic. So if you take one of our MC3 programs, you're going to get that OSHA 10-hour training that I talked to you about. You're going to get the CPR and first aid training. All of these things are going to make you a more successful candidate for the trades to look at. But lastly, you're going to get a NAV2 MC3 certificate. This is signed by the head of the building trades, Chris Hannon, and you will get that certificate if you complete the program. Some of our trades, with the completion of that program, might bring you in as a second period apprentice. Some of them might waive some of their entrance exams, and some of them will help you get a direct sponsorship a lot quicker just for completing that program. Lastly, component 2, physical training. Again, we're going to cover that hands-on training. Wesley talked about what they do over at the Carpenters. Same thing with MC3. We're going to make sure that you get those tools in your hands. You're going to get that training, but more importantly, you want to make sure that you're in shape. Because again, this is a tough industry. I want to be clear about this. There isn't one trade that we have that's easier than the other. We've got hard trades, and then we've got even harder trades. Okay? It's also not glamorous. You're going to get dirty. You're going to sweat. You're going to bleed. You're going to hurt. So I want you guys to consider that. Yes, the money is great, but it still comes at a price. So I talked about all these things. You know, here's some of our MC3 graduates over at Sprinkler Fitters, Local 709. You know, they're putting, 100 pounds of pipe on their shoulder. That's something a new apprentice with no skills is going to do every day. That individual right there, her name is Monica Lopez. She actually got into the sheet metal union after our program. She is now a second period apprentice. Here's one of our programs, the winter program in East Los Angeles is the women's focused MC3 program. For any of you that are interested in getting into the trades, they're there, look at what they're doing. They're moving block, they're moving sand. This is part of their physical training every day because guess what? As a new apprentice, you're not going to be given skills. So, copy that. You're not going to have the skills. So guess what? You're going to get the toughest task coming through the door. Sweeping, picking up trash, moving materials. These are all things that don't require a lot of skill. And because you don't have that skill, that's what you're going to be doing until you get that skill. And you will in time. Some more wheelbarrow moving, then here using some circular saw. Component 3, supportive services with our MC3 programs. I know there was a little bit of discussion about this earlier, but with our MC3 programs, you're going to get supportive services. You're going to get intensive case management. You're going to get help with overcoming whatever barriers to employment that you might have. If it's record expungement, if it's substance abuse, childcare, housing issues, you need help getting a driver's license, etc. Our programs are going to help you do all those things. Okay, most of our programs have intensive case management support, but more importantly, the Apprenticeship Readiness Fund of the building trades supports those programs that don't have that with our own case manager in-house. Community resource guidance and referrals. I already talked about that. And then, LA Housing Compliance just talked about that. We also offer starter tools, initiation fees, the laborers union, you know, the initiation fees to get into that trade are pretty high. Our apprenticeship readiness fund will help to pay those fees to ensure that you don't have to incur that type of cost. And then last one, retention and mentorship support for the duration of your apprenticeship. I still talk to folks that I got into the trades 5, 6, 7 years ago that have already journeyed out and that continue to check in with me when they're having issues on the job site, et cetera. I met those individuals when I was an instructor at a program that I've been twice removed from already. But it's just that level of commitment that I have to the students that come through our programs and that we continue to serve well through their apprenticeship. So, and then career guidance and placement support. So all MC3 students receive an introduction through the program to trades representatives. But more importantly, I'm going to give you the real world expectations of what the timeline looks like for you to get in the trades. Some of our trades you can get into pretty quick, but some of our trades actually take a little bit of a length of time. The electrician union, for instance, sometimes it takes 6 to 8 months to get into that trade, but there are other ways that we can get you started in that local union that are a lot faster than that. Sometimes we can get you in as fast as a month, but every trade has different processes, and I'll be there to make sure that you get walked through that process. So here's some more graduates here. Marisol, she got into the Plumbers Local 78 through our winter women's program. And she's working actually on LAX right now. She's actually working on a project that is, it is the second largest concrete structure in the nation. It is the largest gas station in the world. It's called the Consolidated Rental Car Facility, and it's offsite at LAX. This is a little bit women focused here, but Jennifer Monterosa, she got into the Iron Workers Local 433. Great girl, doing great. She's the first period apprentice. She just got in recently. And then we've got Crystal Martinez, who got into the IBW Local 40. She's an electrician in the motion picture industry. So there are a lot of opportunities that are out there. And just so you know that the graduates placed through our MC3 apprenticeship programs, to this date, that number is a little short. I did a new data pool today. That number is actually up to 1,029. So in the last few years, we've put a lot of people through our programs and gotten them into MC3, or I'm sorry, into apprenticeship. But you know, Wesley said something earlier that I want to just touch on. He says we can get a ton of people into apprenticeship, but really it's about how many stay in apprenticeship. And I can tell you right now that across all the trades, that number can be low for the first year. You know, a lot of people don't make it through their first year of apprenticeship, but because you go through a program like this that prepares you for everything that's to come, you have a better chance of staying in the trade. Okay. 93% of those placements have been people of color, 17% have been women. Just so you know, the national average for women in construction right now is about 2%. So in LA, we're doing it just a little bit better. Lastly, minimum requirements for enrollment. So in our MC3 programs, we want you to have a valid driver's license. And again, the reason is retention. We're not trying to be exclusive. We just want to make sure that if we get you on a project like the project we're discussing today, in 3 days, 3 weeks, whenever your time is up on that project, we want you to have the ability to get to the next project. And the difference is the next project could be in Irvine, could be in Montclair, could be in San Bernardino. So it might be pretty far. You may be able to get to the project locally through Uber, Lyft, public transportation, but the next project you might not. And that affects retention. So I just want to be clear on that. Security card, proof, that's just something that the trades require. High school diploma, GED or equivalent. You know, again, only 5 of our 15 trades do not require a high school diploma. But in our programs, we're going to expose you to all 15. So we don't want you to pick those 5 as a consolation prize if you really want to get into one of the other ones. So we really want you to get your high school diploma. All of our MC3 programs have the means to help you get that. The ability to pass the drug test, that's been said a few times tonight. It's very, very important. And then last one, desire, a commitment and a willingness to learn and be coachable. You got to be able to take direction. You got to be able to do things. In the building trades, we're not going to sugarcoat things. You know, we're not going to ask please and say it nicely. It's still construction. It's still a rough industry. And then where do you get more information on how to enroll? I'm gonna go ahead and stop there, and I'm gonna hand it over to the next presenter because they're gonna talk to you a little bit more about a new program that we've just developed in partnership with. So, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you again, Ben. I'm gonna bring up Jose Guadron at this time. And make sure that that doesn't drop. All right, so Jose is going to talk about how you can get connected to MC3 training locally through CRCD and our Worksource Center. You may just-
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good and well. My name is Jose Guadron. I'm the Director of Workforce Development with CRCD. So tonight, I'm actually going to go over a little presentation about who we are as a nonprofit organization and what it is we do and how we kind of fit with, the other presenters that have already spoken to you previously. Okay. So next slide. So we've already heard quite a bit of targeted local hire, what it means, and basically, who it's intended to serve and support. And that's basically us, the community. So for targeted local hire, Christiana did a fantastic job of going over what that's for. And our role in this targeted local hire initiative is basically making sure that we can connect those that need to be served to these opportunities, because that has been historically a challenge, right? Getting people that these jobs are intended for connected to the right people. And all of these people here at the front are the people that you need to be connected to in order to get access to these family sustaining wages. Next slide, please. So a little bit about who we are. CRCD stands for the Coalition for Responsible Community Development. We were funded in 2005 by, thank you, Billy. We were founded in 2005 by a group of community leaders who came together, saw that there was a lot of need, and as a result, there was a lot of opportunity and response to address those needs in the community, primarily focusing in South Los Angeles. So we are a place-based nonprofit organization whose mission is to serve this community. So CRCD has been pretty much dedicated for over a decade to providing quality of life, improving the quality of life to young people, African-American and Latinos in the community. And we really began with one contract through the city of Los Angeles. So it all began with one contract, which was to remove graffiti from the community. And over the years, it's literally blown up. So we have different departments that do different things for the community. And today we provide a holistic community development service approach that reaches pretty much across education, workforce development, affordable housing development, and homeless services for young adults in the community. So that's a little bit about who we are. Next slide, please. So like I mentioned before, CRCD does a lot. We have different departments that do different things, but what I'm going to talk to you today about is what does the Worksource Center do? Some of you may be familiar with what Worksource Center do and what they offer. CRCD is one of those Worksource Centers. We receive funding from the city of Los Angeles, and we utilize that funding to provide adult programs, which offer services to unemployed and underemployed individuals and also employers that are looking to fill positions. So our programs and services pretty much enable workers to obtain family sustaining jobs and provide them with training opportunities like those that we've talked about earlier, career pathways, and also job placement assistance. So that in a nutshell is primarily what it is we do. But I want to take it a step further than that. Ben actually pointed it out earlier that the community that we serve has a lot of barriers. So our main goal and focus is to address and eliminate and mitigate those barriers to employment, to training, with whatever resources we have at our disposal, whichever contacts, whichever community-based organizations that we partner with. If there's a need, we address that need because we want to make sure that individuals are able to reach those goals that they have for themselves and be sustainable for the future. Next slide, please. So our workforce development services, as you can see from this slide, we offer a lot. And that's because there's a lot of need out there. So depending on what the individual's needs are, we have a service, we have a resource, we have a community partner that can address those needs. Some of the needs that are up there that I wanted to kind of highlight is the career and financial coaching. In the field of construction, it's not like you get a regular paycheck every Friday, every other week, or get paid once a month. In between jobs, there may be a lag time between your next paycheck. So we want to make sure that you have the financial literacy and discipline to actually be able to set up a budget for yourself and your family to make sure that you're able to make it through those gaps. There's linkages to apprenticeships and career pathways. You've heard a lot tonight that these opportunities are not jobs. These are careers. This is not something that you just walk into and say, okay, I'm just going to do this for now. This is a commitment that you all are willing to make and stick it out and pay your dues because the reward, as Ben said, is pretty much almost guaranteed as long as you put your dues in and you put in the time. So we want to expose you to those opportunities and those career pathways. Job retention is another one that I want to focus on. Job retention and follow-up services are huge. Like Christiana mentioned in her presentation, that it's not that we're going to put you through training and place you at a work site and say, see ya, bye, job done, check the box, on to the next one. You are actually going to be part of a team. These folks up here are all working for you. They're all working with you to make sure that you are successful. And success, and I think others would agree, it's not just, did we get them onto the job site? Success is going to be measured by, did you stay onto that work site and go on to the next one and the next one and the next one? That's what success is, and that's what retention is all about. And sometimes things happen. So when those things happen, you have a network of people that you can rely back onto and say, hey, this happened, can you help me? And we'll plug you in to another contract or a contractor or another work site. So retention is huge. Again, this is not a job. This is not something that you just go from, work site to different contractor to different employer. This is a career. Okay, so I just want to make sure that that point gets really drilled in. Yes. Absolutely. That's actually the next slide. So next slide. And the slide after this. Yes. So up next, I actually wanted to introduce you to somebody that if you're seriously committed to this opportunity, you're going to be working with closely. Adrian Manuel is our MC3 construction trainer. So this is the man that's actually going to get you prepared and ready for this opportunity. So Adrian, can you come on up and talk a little bit about the MC3 program timeline, please?
Got it. Howdy. Good evening. My name is Adrian Manuel. I'm the construction trainer with CRCD. So I'm here to talk a bit about the program. For the interest of time, I'm going to keep it nice, brief, but I'm still going to give as much information. And, always feel free to reach out to us for this program timeline. So we're going to start the outreach, enrollment, and registration this month in December. We want to make sure that we get as many candidates as we can for this project. We want to make sure that they're all ready and they're going to be ready for the next step, whether it's getting into the trades directly or going to the MC3 program. So the MC3 program is going to start in January. We're looking at mid-January to start. It's going to be a 6-week commitment and it's going to be fun. Trust me when I say that. We'll go on the next slide. I'm going to discuss a little bit more about that. And there's the next slide. So as mentioned, we are going to be doing the MC3. We are an authorized provider of the MC3. So it's going to be a mixture of in-class based material as well as hands-on training. So it's Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be located at our CRC Enterprise Training Facility, and we're looking at 182 hours of training. As mentioned, the credentials, the North American Building Trades Union Certificate of Completion, the OSHA 10, which I will also be teaching, as well as the CPR First Aid AED certificates. The goal for this is to prepare participants to enter the local union apprenticeships by understanding the demands and requirements needed to be a member of the building trades. It's not just about knowing the skill, it's about having that mentality as well. Can you get up early? Can you show up on time? Do you have the positive attitude to work with various people from different backgrounds, wherever they come from? Can you work with them? If so, you're going to go a long way. Next slide. So Ben pretty much went over all this, so I won't go into many details on this one. However, for the most part, the last one I do want to focus on is that hands-on training. So do you want to be a carpenter? I'll give you a little taste of what carpenters need to do. You want to install drywall? Okay, let me show you how to do it a little bit. You want to know how to do plumbing? All right, here's a blowtorch. Here's how you do some sweating. All those things, we're going to go into just a little taste of it. At the same time, we're also going to be going to tours to different apprenticeship training centers to ensure that you see what they want, to see how you're going to be moving on to the next step. With our step, we want to make sure that you're ready for that step. And at the end of the day, you're going to be a great member of the local unions.
All right, so the classes are going to be held at the CRCD Enterprises where the training facility, the address. Yeah, so we're going to be passing out a flyer and more information. And actually, I'm going to be wrapping it up and I'll tell you where we can get more information. So if we could go to the next slide. I'm a visual learner, so I like seeing graphs and stuff. So basically, this is the process. For those of you that are interested in getting connected, this is basically the steps that you're going to need to go through. It all begins with an orientation. That orientation, you're going to meet with the CRCD Worksource Center. We're going to be doing assessments, trying to get to know you a little bit better, what your situation is, what your needs are. And then we're going to try to enroll you into our programs if you're not already enrolled. Following that orientation process, you are going to be, if you do not have any construction experience, you will be connected to our MC3 training. So that's the training that Adrian just went over. So that is the apprenticeship readiness training. Like Adrian said, it's 6 weeks. Those that successfully complete will then be provided with the warm handoff to Christiana. She's LA Housing Compliance, the job coordinator on the site. They're going to do guided apprenticeship registrations. They're going to do another drug test, and they're going to help you prepare for those employer interviews. So once they prepare you, that's the next step, apprenticeship. So you get handed off to the apprenticeships for ongoing support and support services. So as you can see, this is a process. And I know time is money and everybody wants everything now, but this is not one of those situations where you attend orientation on Monday, you go to MC3 training on Tuesday, you complete in one day, and then you start the job coordinator phase the third day, and then you are at the work site at the end of the week. It doesn't work that way. This is a process and it does take time. But during that time, you are definitely going to be supported from the very beginning to the very end. So I wanted to make sure that everybody had kind of a clear understanding of what this really is. Again, this isn't a job, this is a career. So a career, it takes time to develop. So the last slide that we're going to show you is more information. There are flyers in the back, and for those of you that are on Zoom, you can take a screenshot of this. But the next step is attending an orientation. So we have orientations already scheduled Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 11. We have walk-ins. If you are able and comfortable to walk into our Worksource Center, you're more than welcome to do so. Our Worksource Center is located on the campus of LA Trade Tech. The address and the phone number are there, along with an email address where you can email if you have additional questions. So I know I spoke really quickly, but I will be in the back. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop by and see me and pick up the information from our table. Kenta?
All right, thank you, Jose. I know that was a lot of information, but the next step, if you're interested, attend an orientation, find out more, get connected, start training, start on this pathway. So we're a little bit over time, but we'll take a couple of questions, either from folks in the room or also on Zoom before we close out tonight's event. So are there any questions from folks here in the space? You'll also have the opportunity to speak to the presenters after, so any questions you can ask them as well. Are there any questions on Zoom that we want to address at this time?
Yeah, there are a few questions here. Do we have to complete training before being able to work on this site? And what if we don't complete training by the time the site is complete?
So in order to move on to the referral to the jobs coordinator and the apprenticeship programs, MC3 training completion would be a requirement. Now, if someone is not able to complete the training for whatever reason, we still being connected to our Worksource Center will allow them to access other opportunities that we're working with.
Okay. I'm a union carpenter apprentice local 213 who's hiring at the Evermont project. I heard Largo Concrete is, I'm ready to work now.
So the project doesn't have a GC yet, but that's great. If you could connect with us, we'll get you connected to LA Housing Compliance. So if we can just make sure we can follow up with that person.
Eduardo, yes. I received my Flaggers certification around 2 months ago and have been doing it ever since. Unfortunately, it was only temporary work. So looking for more work in that field. Will that type of work be available on this project?
Can someone help me out with that one?
Yeah, Flaggers.
That's actually something for me to lower.
Okay, so yes, get connected to our work source. We'll make sure that when those opportunities come, like that you have the opportunity to connect to that. Do we have any additional questions, Lisa?
Can we refer ex-offenders to this program?
Yes. Wesley said he prefers it. So
Wes says he prefers it.
Strong yes.
Yes.
Resounding yes.
There's a question here. All right, I see your question, Brett Carson. I will work with the team to get answers for you on how many apprenticeship jobs and hours are estimated for the project and the crafts and trades. It's a detailed question and I'll go over this with the development team. And thank you, Brad, for giving us your email address. We'll send you an answer. He has another question. Who are the subcontractors on this project? Are we that far?
So the GC has not been selected yet. So the subs have also not been selected yet.
Do you need a COVID vaccine to work on this site?
So for the training, for the apprenticeship readiness training, you do not. And then do we have an answer for the site? So we can't say definitively across all of the trades what their regulations are, but it would depend trade by trade, and there are requirements, so it would depend.
And the one thing I'll add to that is that maybe for this project, the vaccination may not be required to work on the project, but the next project could require that.
So an additional consideration is that even if this project doesn't have a vaccine requirement, another project may have that. So it's something to look into per group. So, okay, I think we're gonna close it out at this time, Lisa. So one more question.
There's one more question. What if I'm in the union already? What can I do to join the Evermont project?
All right, so if you're in the union already, we're gonna get you connected to LA Housing Compliance. And we'll take the steps from there. So I wanna make sure the folks on Zoom have a way to follow up with our Worksource Center. So let's please make sure they have that information. And then thank you everyone for coming to the event today. We know it was a lot of information, but you have a whole team of people here wanting you to succeed, get connected to these opportunities. Folks are going to be staying behind to answer any questions. And thank you again for your support of the project. And to everyone on Zoom, good night and thank you.